Usually I don't make political statements. I don't say anything that might potentially lose audience members from my show. Not that I really have a lot anyways, but after last Tuesday, I couldn't help but think, can I really make the same material that I usually produce, which is movie reviews, movie analysis, comedy sketches, things of that nature. And I just said to myself, I feel like I need to say something about this election, whether people want to hear it or not, because I can't feel like I'm going to go on and act like everything's okay when it's not. So I made a little statement, and I just want to say, if you're a Trump supporter, if you're a Hillary supporter, I don't want you to think that I have an extreme amount of animosity towards you. I just want to express what I'm feeling at this time, and I think it's a time where we all need to get a little political, and if it causes some divisiveness and some outbreak, maybe it's a little necessary. On November 8th, 2016, the American people voted Donald J. Trump to be the 45th president of the United States. They chose to elect a president who wants to ban all Muslims from entry to the United States. They chose to elect a president who calls Mexicans drug dealers and rapists. They chose to elect a president who rates women on a scale of 1 to 10. Judging by how attractive he finds them, he'll be tempted to grab them by their genitalia. They elected a president who has mocked the handicapped, war veterans, and the poverty of African Americans. They elected a president who has proclaimed he can shoot someone and still win the election. They have elected a president who ignites online rampages with those that mock or disagree with him. They have elected a president who denies climate change. They have elected a president who boasts about not paying his workers when he thought their work wasn't sufficient enough.
And you wouldn't pay what the man needed to be paid, what he was charging you.
Maybe he didn't do a good job, and I was unsatisfied with his work, which our country should do too.
They have elected a president who ran a fake university that led to the death of his students. When put on trial for Trump University, Mr. Trump attacked the ruling judge of the case based upon his Mexican descent, although he's from Indiana, but that's besides the point. They elected a president who has used vulgarities during campaign speeches, who has encouraged violence against protesters by telling them to punch him in the face. They have elected a man who accused Barack Obama of being from Kenyan descent. They have elected a president who has failed to turn in his tax returns. They have elected a president who has been accused of raping a 13-year-old girl. There are 2 other rape charges against Mr. Trump that are ultimately dropped due to what only one could perceive as an immense amount of threats targeted towards the plaintiffs. This is merely the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the egregious words and actions of the 45th to-be president of the United States. And how have the people reacted to these despicable actions? They embraced it with open arms. Despite his misogynistic claims and sexual predatory behavior, 62% of white women without college degrees chose Donald Trump to represent them. Amongst white men, 63% chose Trump over Clinton. White men with college degrees, 53%. White male non-college students, 72%. FBI Director James Comey's successful attempt at sabotaging Hillary Clinton's presidential run and dismantling the Democratic Party in both the House and the Senate was successful in its media run over Trump's various criminal charges. After stabilizing a damaged economy, lowering the unemployment rate, ending a long, bloody, senseless war in Iraq, veering healthcare in a more stabilized direction with progressive change to come, legalizing gay marriage nationwide, and reinstilling the world's trust in the United States, the American voters have thanked President Barack Obama for his efforts by electing a man whose presidential win is being celebrated by the KKK at a parade in North Carolina. He is being thanked by allowing racial divide reflective of the 50s and 60s to once again blossom. Students from Southern Illinois University have painted themselves in blackface, posing in front of the Confederate flag. A video surfaced online of the aftermath of a white student calling a black student a nigger and said he should be picking cotton. In North Carolina, a note with a following was left on the hood of another man's car reading, "Can't wait until your gay marriage is overturned by a real president." Gay families equal burn in hell. On day 2 after the election of Donald J. Trump, there have been reports from schools within the states of Michigan and Pennsylvania where students were documented carrying a Trump-Pence sign chanting white power. These same people referred to the African Americans on their campus as slaves and spat on their faces. Before the election of Donald J. Trump, a Saudi student at the University of Wisconsin Stout was beaten to death outside of a local pizza shop. This is merely an indicator of things to come. Electing a man based upon his hate-filled rhetoric has displayed one of the most bigoted, revenge-laced elections in America's history. When the people have been encouraged to hate one another, to breed violence upon their fellow man, to remove those from this country because they're not the same skin color as them, a side of America has emerged from the darkness and come into the light. After 4 years of Barack Hussein Obama, it seemed that the country was moving towards a more stabilized direction. Now it will be decommissioned under the Trump administration. The White House Chief of Staff position is being negotiated amongst various candidates, including Steve Bannon. If you're not aware of who Steve Bannon is, then you might be aware of his radical right-wing website, Breitbart News, for which he was chairman of before leaving to become Trump's campaign CEO. The position of Attorney General may be awarded to former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, a man who enforced the stop and frisk law, which mostly attributed itself to an overwhelming degree towards African American and Latino citizens. A man who said anything is illegal during a time of war. Homeland Security is Governor Sheriff David Clark, the man who criticized the Black Lives Matter movement when adamantly stating at the Republican National Convention that Blue Lives Matter. Mr. Clark has also proclaimed to Trump supporters to bring out pitchforks and torches to fight a rigged system. We may also potentially see the bear-shooting hockey mom from Alaska, otherwise known as Sarah Palin, as the Interior Secretary. Agricultural Secretary could be awarded to Texas Agricultural Commissioner Sid Miller, who once called Hillary Clinton a cunt on Twitter. Thankfully, none of these individuals have been officially confirmed, but merely rumored. However, given the nature of Trump's campaign, none of these clown car candidates would surprise me if chosen. Donald Trump has become the Joseph McCarthy of the 21st century. In the eyes of history, Joseph McCarthy was seen as a fear-mongering scoundrel. When Chief Counsel for the United States Army, Joseph Welch, asked,
"Have you no sense of decency, sir? At long last, have you left no sense of decency?"
It echoes to today's current rural voters. After the Civil Rights Act, after the lift of gay suppression in the military, and gay marriage being legalized nationwide, this is who we choose to be reflective of us? A man who uses people's hatred and bigotry and fear-mongering as a way to get voters on his side?
But today, everybody's politically correct. Our country's going to hell with being politically correct. Going to hell.
The Electoral College chose Donald Trump as their next president, but the nation as a whole chose Hillary Clinton by a popular vote of more than 2 million, ahead of Trump's numbers. if Trump is right about one thing, is that
the process is rigged. This whole election is being rigged.
now there are more voters and wider populations in states like New York, California, and Illinois. There are hundreds upon thousands upon a million voters that don't matter to make the people's vote count, opposing to a mere required 270. There is a petition online to elect Hillary Clinton that will be included in the description of this video that demands for the popular vote to be counted as Clinton's delayed path to victory. The deadline for that would be December 18th. It's incredibly doubtful, but it's a try. There is still hope in America to keep it from sinking to the bottom of the ocean. Protests have ignited in Chicago, Washington, Los Angeles, and San Francisco by the thousands. If the protests continue, and peacefully, mind you, we can keep this potential warlord at bay.
We're going to knock the shit out of ISIS. Going to knock the shit out of it.
It is the time now, more than ever, to fight with every square inch of our lives to not only keep President Trump from stripping the rights away from Latinos, Muslims, and African Americans, but to ensure that we have universal health care and economic equality. We must fight to ensure that President Trump doesn't start a war with another nation that we cannot afford. We must go online, and more importantly, we must go on the streets. Don't give up protesting. Don't. It may take years. It may seem hopeless, but it is the people, not its leaders, that make its nation's decisions. America cannot afford to lose its decency. Don't let the Americans who voted out of hate to drown out those who voted out of love. To Mr. Trump and his supporters, may I once more quote Joseph Welch, "If there is a God in heaven, it will do neither you nor your cause any good." Thank you very much.